You crave connection, the kind where you truly feel seen and heard. You show up with your whole heart, giving, listening, caring, hoping that this time someone will meet you there. But when that closeness doesn't come back to you, something inside of you starts to ache. You might give even more, trying to bridge the distance, not realizing that you've been emotionally conditioned to work for love instead of receiving it. And to help us understand these patterns and how we finally experience true emotional intimacy, I am honored to introduce to you Robert Jean, founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute and the creator of Eutaptics and FasterEFT. He is known as the Einstein of the mind. Robert has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, transform emotional patterns, creating lasting, measurable change. If this speaks to you, subscribe to the podcast. Every time you do, you help get this knowledge out into the world, and you give yourself a front seat to understanding your emotional patterns and unlocking the deep connections that you've been longing for. Hi, Robert.
Wow, this is a very common program. Loneliness, wanting connection, and why is it we don't get connection? And when connection get close, we seem to evade it. Why would you be lonely? And yet your partner's next to you, your children are around you in a crowded room and still feel lonely. Common emotional programmings. And so, working over the years, there's a lot of reasons why we have this and lots of ways that it's installed. And so oftentimes it's a family tradition. And so, the lonely program, all alone.
Right.
And wanting connection, begging for connection, doing everything to get it.
Yes, working for it. It's hard work. Yeah. So what exactly is an emotional pattern? Let's start there.
Well, if we break it down to the basics of how we survive in the world, we're all born in an environment. Even though, let's say you got 5 siblings, each sibling has a different environment than the first one or the one behind them. And so from these environments, we learn basically to survive. And from what we experience, these experiences kind of carve out a world for us. It kind of sets the stage. It becomes like an imprinted value, and so we begin to develop and survive with that. Sometimes it can be adjusted and changed, and it's adjustable. They're not stuck real and permanent. We've heard the psychologist said you're imprinted the first 7 years of your life. That's not a complete truth. It's a small part. You're always imprinted. Imprints are updated and changed. And some are definitely what you call cornerstone imprints. It means it's something as a standard you use, which are changeable. Probably not with traditional talk therapy, but with the ability to change memories, the neuroplasticity of the mind, and updating the programs. So I see this a lot. There's a very common one. So we have survival programs, and it doesn't have to be within the first 7 years. I mean, it could start there, but you can also have an updated lonely program, or I'm nobody program, or no one loves me program. 10 years old, 7 years old, 12 years old, 36 years old. Oftentimes they're usually built upon the past, but so we have an unconscious program, not knowing that we do it and why we do it. I've seen it all the time. Every person, most of our problems today are just recycled experiences. And they don't even know it. I worked with several people today. A young man, I say young man, he's, I don't know, in his 30s. And then another one, she was also in her 30s. Both were repeating a cycle. The different types of cycles, like, I said the young man, he comes from a very hardcore religious programming, and dad was super hard on him, very strict, very religious, very controlling. and which is a part of his life and part of his world, part of his religion. It's all fits there. But dad was really like above the top. So at one point, he's punished, extremely angry, locked in his room, and he did something that made him feel good, and it created a pattern. At that point, he just said, basically, I don't give a shit about my life.
Mm.
And so then he went to the opposite crazy end, opposite of what the religious stuff is. Now he wants to be good. I mean, he's got one leg in and one leg out of the crazy stuff, and then one leg in the spiritual religious stuff. And so, he gets married. He wants to get married. He wants to have somebody. He wants to have that connection, because see, him and his dad, even though he said we didn't connect communication wise, they did connect behavior wise.
Mm. That
And
is,
so even though dad was hard and strict, he went to the other side. Same system, different color of a coat, same behavior. So he gets married, and he's still the bad guy. He does dumb things. And of course, she gets hurt, he's hurt. And then of course the beauty of the beginning of the relationship becomes ugly. There's the barrier, there's a wall. He still wants it. He still wants it because he's still that little boy, still wanting daddy to love him, trying so hard to do right. But the programming kept him locked in a loop, something he didn't want to be in. It kept repeating a style. So, but today he met with me. we did a good job cleaning history up. And he said, I didn't see all that. I didn't see it.
yeah. What were the biggest things? Like, what were the connections?
The connections, well, again, we look at, well, first of all, his dad was a very hardworking guy. He was the only of his siblings that had a life together. He studied, he worked hard, he was bullied, he was picked on as a kid. And then, of course, with his nose in the book learning, it helped kind of pull him out of the craziness. But he's also very harsh and very stern with his son, the first two. Of course, the other siblings, he miled up. He become a little bit more nicer. But this little boy had this conflict that I'm a bad person, basically.
Right.
Always bad. And so he's trying not to be bad, but so he even goes to the deep end, get angry and pissed off with dad because of the stories. So his basic connection is he's still bad. And he also is alone,
Right.
know.
Right. So then he's got to be bad, and he's got to show up in the world that way, even though he
Yeah.
consciously didn't know it. That's what he was doing.
Well, even when he was doing the things he shouldn't do, he knew he was bad and he felt bad.
Right. So he just carried that bad feeling everywhere he went.
It becomes a model, a pattern.
Right. Okay. So go ahead.
And so even with his beautiful wife and his children, he still feel like he's still being punished by God because he's bad.
Right.
So and again, it's not true. I mean, it is true. It was true before we started, but it becomes a pattern. So what we do is, in order to shift this, we have to change how we represent ourself, our father, some of you, your mother, or your siblings, and then you shift you. So we operate, our brain is very smart. We have a limbic operating system. Now, it's so incredibly simple how the brain works because we have a limbic operating system. We have a pair of amygdalae, as they could say amygdala, but it's actually two of them. And of course, I call these girls who've had 50 cups of coffee. They work so incredibly fast. As I'm talking, even these girls, you can call them guys, I call them girls, they work incredibly fast. So I say a dog, and then your mind will pop up a dog, and I'll say it's a black dog. It'll change to black dog. And then I say things, and it's just moving like this and pulling stuff in. And so, but it also encodes memories in a very simple way. Memories have basically 5 main components: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, smell, and taste. Now, again, when we say visual, we're not just talking pictures, but how the memories are encoded. Some are movies, some are black and white, some are colorful, some are panoramic, some have slideshows, some you looking right through your eyes as if you're there, and some you watch it as if it's on a movie screen. And these memories are spread throughout the whole brain. It's just not one spot. And so by how it encodes memories, it gives value. So we go in, we adjust how it's encoded, how you internally hold it, your behavior changes. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is, as the process I use is called Eutaptics, FasterEFT. It's a psychosensory process. You don't have to believe in it for it to work. Actually, he didn't even know what I did. He saw me on Instagram. He went to my YouTube page. He saw a little bit, and then he called me on the phone. I said, it's going to work for you. Write me a list. And then wham, we did the session. And of course, you think we're going to be talking about this stuff for a long time.
Right. Yeah, talk therapy.
So the first thing I did, I said, I think I had 10 major painful memories. Major memories. And like if you were to measure them from 0 to 10, there are 9s, 8s, and 10s, Mm-hmm. And then within the first 4 minutes, I adjusted every one of those. Now, again, it's not that I have powers. It's not mystical. It's not anything. It's just mechanical. Mm-hmm. And I said, now let's go back. Let's go back to your son, the memory with your son. And before it was very upsetting. Matter of fact, was a very bothersome surgery. And he says, it doesn't bother me. I see my wife holding him and we're smiling. So again, the brain is very smart. And so when you're working with your brain, and most people don't understand this, it's easy to change memories if you know what you're doing. It's easy to change your life if you know where to go. Mm-hmm. So here it is. He had a pattern of, he was a bad guy. He was guilty. He was alone. Never good enough. Because remember, he's coming from a dad that no matter what you do, you're not good enough. And he wants to connect. We didn't know how to connect. But, the weird thing is when I started cleaning this up and we got done, all of a sudden he found his connections with his dad. Mm. Which is also a major part of his love, but which was about sports. Mm. So that was where his love was. And so then there was a connection with dad and not realizing he had one.
Right. That is so interesting. So in the session, you found the place that there was a connection, because it doesn't matter which relationship it is, there will always be a connection. There's a gift.
Well, it's not that I found it. It revealed itself.
Right.
Right. Now, there are Now, here's another thing, too. The weird, bizarre thing is, now, everyone on the call, you can do this now. Just recall a time in your life that you felt alone. You felt lonely. You got one?
Not yet. I have kids, so there's always someone around.
Well, how about that?
But I can feel disconnected. I know that feeling all too well.
Okay, like, disconnected. Yeah, disconnected. Some will say it's a sophisticated word. A sophisticated word for loneliness.
Oh. Not okay. I can feel that.
Yeah. Now, by the way, you produce that.
Good job.
It's not an actual fact. I'm in a room full of 120 therapists. And so I asked them. I said, have you anybody in here ever felt lonely? I said, go ahead and take a deep breath, close your eyes, and go remember. Remember your lonely feeling, being alone, feeling abandoned, whatever it is. And I said, raise your hand if you felt alone and lonely. And all the hands go up. I said, open your eyes and look around. You all were alone together. Mm-hmm. 120 people.
Right.
But you weren't alone. So loneliness and feeling alone is a programming. It's a learned system. And in order to be alone, to feel alone, you have to negate the whole world. You have to reject everything around you. The world has people everywhere. They're on TV, they're in the air, they're driving up and down the street, they're in the apartment next door, they're everywhere. And some people feel alone with their partner laying next to them or at the kitchen table or at a mall with thousands of people.
So what causes you to negate it?
It's a self-absorbed form of self-torment.
Okay.
You
So,
know, you're abusing yourself.
right, but that would
Yeah,
come from an experience in the past.
exactly. It becomes from a translation of experiences.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is, let's say, for example, and this is a very common one, your sister is born or your brother is born, and now you're no longer important. You were getting all the attention before they arrived. Now all of a sudden, you're not, and then that's where your loneliness will begin. That's where
Mm,
your anger will begin. Your hatred will begin. You
mhm,
know, or maybe you only felt connected with your grandmother or your grandfather, and they
mm,
died or they moved away. Then you translate, feel the gap, the missing, the loneliness. So it becomes an internal programming built
mhm.
for the self. Now, all of these are actually traumas. Now, trauma is not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It's just an event that changed how you perceive yourself and how you perceive the world, and you develop skills and processes to stay in alignment with it.
Mhm.
So, the lonely feeling, and again, a lot of times we just, I mean, this is one of the number one emotional issues I deal with people all the time. I'm alone. No one understands me. Um,
Right. And
I'm,
that,
I'm the bad one. I'm the guilty one. They don't love me. So common.
mhm. Yes. Okay. And I really want to focus on the ladies that feel disconnected, or maybe like I hear the terminology, I have an emotionally unavailable husband.
Mhm.
And so can you address that? Because these
Yeah.
women are craving that connection, this deep connection.
Yeah. So, this is a very common emotional system. And the weird thing is that men and women, it's just not a woman thing. They pick the right puppy out of the litter called your husband,
Mhm.
and at first they all seem to be seemingly good, but the deal is one or two things happen. They were already distant in the first place. They're very much like your father or your mother,
Mhm.
and you know how to operate with it, and it's safer if they're that way. And then as you start to get older, you start craving something you couldn't have
Mhm.
from your father or your mother, now your husband. Yeah. You can feel that one, right?
I do.
Yeah. So it's just an emotional repeating pattern, Crystal. And so it's a recycling story. And here's the thing, we see it as the problem, but in reality it's a success. Because again, we grew up, and if, like, I was doing a seminar in Strasbourg, France, and this woman is very upset because her boyfriend was very distant from her and actually basically didn't want her. And again, that's her upsetness. Now here's the problem. Once they start to want her and to be with her, she loses interest.
Interesting.
She doesn't want them anymore. And if somebody wants her, she's not interested at all. So she likes to try to win it over, to win them over, to get the love, get whatever they want. And then once they get it, a mission accomplished, and they're bored and they move on to the next project. And so I asked her, I said, what's the deal? So what if they like you? What if they want you? You said, I'm not interested. It's too boring for me. And then it started going back to her father was always away, But there was one time he wasn't away and he got too close. That closeness scared her because of how close and what occurred. So therefore, it's better to chase them than to be caught. And I see this a lot. You see a lot. Like the young lady I was working with today, I said, here it is. She's all in turmoil and upset that he doesn't come and see her very often and all this stuff. And come to find out he's a married man. It's safer for her that way. You know? So I see this a lot. So it's like, I want it, but don't give it to me. So it's that always yearning. So that yearning feeling is just a love connection. That's the connection. Wanting, but not having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say for mine personally, it's definitely, I had to work for love as a child. So for me, even to get any kind of approval, I mean, I had to work really hard to get anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure out why I picked certain people. I mean, I thought I was the exclusion to this pattern rule. But it's because, and I think some ladies will relate to this. I covered up, and because I live in fairyland, I like to cover things up nicely. It looks really pretty, but no one really knows what's really happening. And it's not that I really even know what's happening because I like to fantasize it. No, it looks really good. This is and I can make anything positive. And I think there's a gift in that, reframing things and making it positive, but that means I'm also covering up what's underneath all of it.
Yep.
Until
Yeah.
you really do the healing work with Robert, then you find out, oh, okay, I've really been, I found out, okay, I've been covering it up. And now
Mm-hmm.
as I'm healing, I notice I need the connection. I want the connection, and I get the connection is in me. Like I get to do that healing work.
Right.
What else do I
Well,
want?
I know you call it healing work, but be honest with you, it's not sick. You know, this is a pattern. This is an emotional coping pattern. This is a learned trait.
I like that way better. Yeah. So
I mean, it's you're not sick. You're not healing anything. You're updating how you represent things.
right. And then what if the people around you don't cooperate with that?
Well, I do. I will say this, and I can see this. I see it a lot.
Hmm.
You've been punching them in the nose for a long time. When they get close, you punch them in the nose, so they learn not to get close because it wasn't safe for you. So now you're healing, and they're still expecting a punch, but there's no punch, which means it takes time and patience on your part.
Hmm.
So again, it's about you, and you can change about the relationship with patience and personal transformation. And again, you want something, but you got to let go of what you don't want. And what you don't want is pretty scary. You know, and afraid of having what you want. Remember, you paint pretty pictures.
Hmm.
The makeup is on thick.
You keep saying that, but I say paint the barn.
But underneath the paint is the
Right.
truth. Is the truth.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I have
so
to stop covering up. I do. I
yeah,
have to stop covering up and making it look all pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, it's a very typical operating system. You know, a lot of people do this, a lot, men and women both. Um, you know, religions are very, very good at this. I mean, you have to pretend to be everything's good. You
Hmm.
know, you've got to be whatever it is, and I'm not anti-religion. I'm just saying this is how it works. You know, as you come from, you know, proper, you know, Kentucky or Ireland or everything has to be perfect, you know, and you can see everything has to be perfect because if it's perfect, at least they won't know the truth.
Hmm.
And
Well,
that's underneath the undercurrent. Yeah.
and the teaching though, like I worked with someone actually this morning with The same pattern, church women praying over her because she had makeup on, shaming her body, put on more clothes. They prayed for her
Yeah.
literally to put on more clothes, that she wouldn't
Yeah.
have this rebellious spirit. And
Yeah.
and today, no makeup, baggy clothes, not able to express herself, not able to build her business.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
really, those are things that were inside of her.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of weirdness in. Now, we're not bashing religions. We're not bashing
Right.
any of that stuff
No.
because they're not broken. They're operating systems, but you may not like to live there. You may not like to be a part of that, and that's okay too. But the thing is, we're dealing with. I deal with women and men all across the board. I'm not good enough. I'm not. I'm not loved enough. I got to be perfect. Everything has to be just right, or I'm just the bad one. I'm the guilty one. No one loves me. No one likes me. All of these are culturally conditioned behaviors. And there's always people who can play with you. I mean, you're going to find, like I said, you found the puppy that you loved and the puppy you know. Even though it doesn't look like daddy, but he acts like daddy and you feel like it's daddy because you're using your operating system. Now, again, we grew up in this world, we see mom and dad relationships, and we say, I'll never want to be like them.
Right. I did that. Hmm.
Yeah, but you still do it because that's the only operating system you have.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, even though you can move from Canada and move to Australia, think you're getting right away from your family. They
Right.
moved there first. They transformed in somebody else, and you're still feeling the same system. So it's an emotional repeating cycle. It can end. I help people end these cycles. My cycles have shifted and changed. There's some more I see now. I can see more that I didn't know that was there. I wasn't aware of it was there. But it's changeable once you understand the operating system and how to do that. And again, we're not trying to lay down some boundaries.
Right. Hmm.
Boundaries are just lines in the sand. Don't cross this boundary or I'll get mad at you. You know?
Yeah, I get
And,
it.
and, and that doesn't work because you have all these walls around you, the boundaries that keep you trapped inside yourself, for afraid somebody's going to cross it. And I
Hmm.
say, let's change the memories. This is the key, guys. Changing the memories that created the boundaries or the pains inside you that keep you from getting hurt. It's like the guy I was working with today. Here he is. His dad, you know, sent him to his room and he got so angry, so pissed off, and he was doing something that wasn't good for him. And it created a cycle of pain and misery. So we go out, I clean the pain and misery. I clean when I say clean, we adjust the memories, release the traumas. Now it's not real, not true. And then, of course, the brain pattern is this: dad sent me to my room. And I said, now you're sent to your room. What do you do now? He says, I'll watch TV. I said, that's not good enough. It's not going to edify you and make you a better person. What would you do differently? You know?
Hmm.
And then he said, I'll just go talk to dad. I'll have a conversation. I'm not stuck in the room anymore.
Hmm.
So again, and now, by the way, when you deal with memories inside your head, these are not the real deals. These are, by the way, when you have an experience, your brain will take it, internalize it, and create dad inside your head. That's not your real dad. That's your translation, interpretation, and your own specialized meaning of dad, which also is yourself. So if you look at the mean controlling dad, he morphed into the controlling bad behavior that controlled his existence. So it's shape shifted, we call it. Now that becomes the master, and he hates that he's being done. So again, it's just like how the patterns are being recycled.
Hmm.
So then when we break the cycle, you replace it with a positive way, which, now it can be spiritual. Now it can be really spiritual, not out of habit, but out of the heart,
Mm.
which is a big difference.
Big difference. Hmm.
So, yeah. So when we talk about people with, a lot of people, especially the older you get, the lonely program can be created or amplified. If you felt alone all your life, when your kids grow up and they leave home, you can use your lonely feeling then. When you retire from your job, you can use your lonely feeling then. When your husband dies or your siblings dies or something happens, we can perfect our feeling of loneliness. Even though here's the weird thing is we crave connection, but we find ways to build our loneliness because we take it with us as a skill, not a defect.
Wow, that is so interesting. So for those ladies that, or I mean, empty nesters, men, women,
Mhm.
they're empty nesters, and it starts somewhere for them. Would it start further back from the empty nest, or would you? I guess it doesn't.
It could be anywhere. It could be a multitude of ways. It could be a lifestyle. Again, we oftentimes, of course, we had an interview with my son, my son and I, and we have the same patterns. Now, I didn't intentionally teach him to have my problems,
Right.
but since my problems were mine, I educate my children, and I pick a wife. She wasn't a wife at the time that would still fit my program.
Right.
And I'm going to impress upon them my value system. So a lot of times we learn this from our parents and by watching our mom and dad interact or grandma and grandpa interact. Our religions help us a lot with these problems too.
Hmm. So could we actually look at our family line and just look at our parents and our grandparents and the family members and really look at their, I don't know, their character, their patterns, and then
Mhm.
be able to see how we have duplicated that?
Well, here, let me just be straightforward with you. Logically understand it doesn't solve a damn thing. You just,
True, it
it
doesn't.
doesn't.
You can know
I
it,
mean,
right?
some people have been in 30 years of therapy or 40 years of therapy. They understand why their dad did what they did. The mom didn't do what they did. You're doing it, but you still got the problem.
Hmm.
Common logic doesn't solve or doesn't change the neurological information.
Hmm.
So this is what I'll tell you. Go inside your mind and change your dad. Change how you represent your dad. Change what your dad does inside you. Now remember, we're in the University of Life, so we're learning how to survive in the world. So we watch these things happen, and then we see mom and dad interact. Our brain internalize that. That's an instruction how to live our life. Dad is abusive. Mom receives it. You learn to be either dad or you be mom, or you do both, depending on the situation scenario.
Right.
So if you want to change your values today, you change your trainers from yesterday, right?
Inside of you,
What?
because
Yeah,
we're not.
inside.
Yeah, inside of you, because we're not
Yeah,
changing.
no, you can't. You can't go to your dad and
No,
sort him out. You can't go to your mother for God's sake. You know what she would do with you, right?
I
You
would.
can't.
I would find a gun. She would find a gun.
Yeah. So again, it's not fixing them, but changing your ownership, taking ownership of your own programmings.
Mhm.
That's why they said, know thyself, know what you do inside yourself. So to solve your problems, guys, is to change how you represent your dad and your mother inside you. Change how you represent the person you hate the most. And guess what? The person you hate the most is inside you. You created that entity within you, and it controls you. And you be like them, or you'll be controlled by them, or you'll date them, you'll work for them, or you'll see them everywhere because this is a part of your essence. So you want to be free, you change what you hold within thee.
Mhm.
Doesn't fix anyone else, but it will change your life. It'll
Mhm.
change your perception of the world. It'll change how you train your children. Here's the interesting thing: your demons, your shortcomings, is what's training your children today, as you help them grow up. That's when your buttons are pushed and you have this crazy reaction. Last week, or I don't know what it was, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about my son. So he told me about an event, that's something that I had done, and I had no memory of it. So he told it to me when I was in Scotland, and then he told it to me again just recently, and it's a different story. So now I had two stories, two memories I had to figure out. And then just the other day, he even added more to it. I said, Adam, you're screwing me up. I got three different memories now of the same event because I had no memory of it. So again, memories are internally created and generated. And I said, did you change those inside you? Because it's not me.
Right.
He encoded it. Yeah, sure. I must have done that. He remembered it. I don't. And I think I went into zombie trance and not even know I did it because I'm probably mimicking my trainer, which was my father.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is how the brain works. And it's like this guy I was talking to. I said, well, I never think of these memories. I said, well, of course, you'd go crazy if you did. And it said, just like when you know how to play basketball, if I threw a basketball, you'd catch it without even thinking because you have that training inside you.
Right.
Just like if you have the wounds and the pains and the negativities with your mom, your dad, or being rejected or abandoned and being alone, you do it without thinking. And you give it to your children without thinking, even though you don't want to.
1,000,000%. Mm-hmm. So how does You Can Change Yourself Master Training help people to connect more with themselves or to their partner?
Well, first of all, if you don't know how to change something, you can't. If you go to people who don't know how to change the cause of your problems, you'll never solve your problem. That's why so many people tried thousands of therapies, different therapies, and they have made a few good times, but the memories are still there. What the You Can Change Yourself course shows you how. Shows you where the parts and the pieces are. Shows you how to go in there, how to adjust it, and how to solve the problem. Because it's really you. It's your memories. It's how you internalize it. Knowing how to shift yourself from within yourself by changing your memories gives you freedom. This is an investment that will reap billions of dollars of emotional health for you and your family.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder, what are the physical symptoms that people experience when they're disconnected or they can't connect or they're not connecting with
I'm
their.
not willing to and afraid to and the pain of it.
Yeah.
You name the illness, it's a part of it. You name the illness as a part of it.
You mean every kind of illness?
Every possible illness is linked to some emotional trauma, some emotional hurt, some emotional fear. And most people think it's physical. Like,
Right.
I mean, we have a joint friend that we know, we don't call her out. But here it is, she's having physical pains. And I go, all right, what emotional thing happened? Nothing. Come on, I know you got this pain, you're dizzy, your world's upset. What's happening? What is it? Nothing. I said, I want you to think about it. Go back and track what occurred, what event, what story, and come to find out she made a decision that had a major conflict that she's done her whole life. And the decision she's making is a smart, wise decision. And her unconscious made her world crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet logically, it shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is how the brain works. Again, we have people, if you hadn't seen my testimonials of people with severe autoimmune issues, lupus, Hashimoto's disease, Pott's disease, Lyme disease, multiple chemical sensitivities, back pain, lead pain, you name it, pain. They healed their bodies. And actually, they didn't heal their bodies. They shifted their mind. Their bodies followed the shift.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all driven by memories, and memories basically are traumas, unpleasant experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, in loneliness is a very powerful program. And then basically it's a self-absorbed self-punishment. Now, why do people do that? Well, because an event happened, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I lost all my friends because we moved as a little girl. That loneliness becomes a state of mind. That loneliness becomes a value. And then they go back and rehearse and replay because they think if I keep the pain close, it won't happen again. Or they think to keep the pain close, it keeps me close to what happened. I don't want to ever forget this, and they don't,
Right.
and it destroys them. Yeah.
What do you say to people that say that they don't want to forget it? They don't want to rewrite it. They don't want to change it because they have to keep close.
Well, I say, well, how bad is it? 0 to 10? It's a 5. I said, you're an underachiever.
That's a good one. Uh-huh.
Now, here's the thing. When I say that, I said, would you like to improve your misery then? And they don't take me up on it. Now, so here's the deal. If you're listening to me, if you have a bad memory and you think it's great value to keep it, ask yourself, is this something I'd like to give my little boy or my little girl? Is this
Wow.
something you'd like your children to have too? If the answer is no, you should never keep it because you're going to give it to them anyway.
Right. Ooh, that's a good one.
If the answer is yes, you should be whipped.
Yes. Joke, of course.
Yeah, because I've worked with a lot of people. Now there's a lot of people coming from cultures or systems. Like I remember this mother who wanted me to work on her 6-year-old daughter. And she says her 6-year-old little daughter doesn't like her, and she says she's a bad girl and all this stuff. And said, would you work with her? I said, fine, yeah, sure. I think children are pretty simple. And so I was working with her, and I couldn't get anything to change, and because mother is sitting right there. And so then I thought, So I said, well, I tell you what, let me work on you. And come to find out, she was the abuser of the daughter who also installed the low self-esteem. And then when I started getting more into it, come to find out her daddy did the same to her, which means she's passing the emotional training down to the daughter, and the daughter having big emotional issues, probably the same that she had, but she had to overcome them. So it's a really bizarre thing. People will abuse others, justifiably so, because it was done to them.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Curious.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah. So we do this and not knowingly, and we think it's perfectly fine to hurt others because it was done to us.
Wow.
And by the way, finding a relationship to help you feel lonely is the same system. Your boys are watching.
Totally. They are. Yeah. So then how did she punish her daughter? Like, what was the programming?
She was being very mean. I don't want to go into the details. She was being abusive. Yeah. She was very abusive.
Okay. Yikes.
Yeah.
All right.
Some of you guys are listening to me here, and you probably know what I'm talking about. And of course, if you can't run away from it because you take it with you, you can't paint pretty pictures over it because it's behind the pretty picture. And staying busy and trying to be positive when the positive isn't being practiced, the negative shows up without effort. So there's only one way out. I always say there's only one way out, and that is going to the memories, go into those traumas and clean them up and change them. Now, first, when I say that, it scares people. Yeah, but this is really big and horrible, and I'm so afraid of it. I said, trust me. When we're done, you'll say, I can't believe I made a big deal out of it. I mean, you can change big stuff. Now, this is not talk therapy. This is changes, neurological shifts right now. And it will work. It will work. I've done it for 26 years. 26 years of changing people's lives. I mean, I've actually been working for a long time on that, but really, really in a big way, 26 years. And I've done the worst stuff that you could ever imagine. The worst stuff you could ever imagine. When you're dealing with people in drug rehabs, they have had the worst lives that you could ever imagine. That's why they used drugs, is to escape their pain. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. If you're ready to go deeper and truly transform those patterns that have been holding you back in love and connection, book a private one-on-one session with Robert. It is not a counseling session. You will make real changes. In this session, Robert will guide you personally, helping you identify the hidden emotional patterns that we've been talking about in this episode.
Not only identify, we'll transform them.
Yes, of course.
Transform. Yeah.
Yeah, completely transform it.
Yeah. And the weird thing is most people can't even see it. It's right in the front of their face, And it's like they don't go, oh my God, I didn't even see that. It's just so obvious now.
Right. Well, that happened with me because you are so you see it, you know it, and I don't know it. So I'm like posing with a picture with my hand by my face, and he's like, "Oh, there you go again, hiding again." Like hiding. And so I need things around me to hide, but you see so easily these patterns that people are in. And so there's so much value to that.
I mean, we did some private sessions. We've done some really big stuff that no one else probably could ever do in their life. No other therapist, anyway. And most people don't even know this.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, she had spent $500,000 on a specialized psychologist for her ritual trauma abuse. And she said, I just wasted $500,000.
Oh my gosh.
I was doing a free presentation at a matrix imprinting course, and she volunteered. By the way, she didn't like me. As soon as she saw me, she didn't like me. She saw me before because I'm from Oklahoma, kind of easygoing, laid back, and I triggered her. I guess kind of reminds her of her family, right? But there in the training, I said, listen, I can help you change the worst memory and never tell me what it is. You have to know, and I'll walk you through, and we'll make an adjustment. So she volunteered. And within 45 minutes, and matter of fact, that video is on YouTube somewhere. Oh, wait, I may have taken it. I may have disabled it, but it's out there. And within 45 minutes, that one memory was a pivotal moment of all her abuses. And it was collapse. It means she know it happened. She can't find it. She can't feel it. And it's not real.
Mm.
And again, that's the major difference that we do. It's just neurological information. And you can change your worst traumas and your worst fears, the most loneliness of lonelinesses, and really start living your life. I mean, I have a friend of mine, her life has started at 77. She started setting herself free from the past she didn't even know that was dragging her down.
Mm-hmm.
So life can start now.
Yes.
And if you really want love, it reminds me of this woman. I don't remember her name. I can see her in my mind. I kind of got tears just thinking about her. This is what she said. I'm 51 years old and never felt love in my life until now. 51 years, never felt love in my life. Now, 6 months before that, her friends kept trying to get her to come see Robert. Come and see Robert. Come and see Robert. She says, no, I don't like men. I don't trust them. And so finally they come and they bring her, and I start doing a little intake trying to figure out her great skill. And of course, her great skill was, she said, there are no good men on earth. And I said, really? How do you know? She said, well, I lived in California. I dated fat men, rich men, poor men, short men, tall one, midget, black ones, white ones, you name it, I date them all. There's no good men on earth. And I go, okay, well, that's great. So tell me about your life growing up as a child. She goes, well, I really had a great life until my mom remarried. I said, what happened? He goes, every day he said something bad about me, and I kept track of it on the calendar. So every day she kept track of something wrong. She became an expert at finding something wrong. At 16, this innocent guy comes in her life and she marries him. The question is, who was she in the relationship? She became just like her stepdaddy, and guess who put up with it? So even though she didn't like him, she became him, and then she started abusing him, and he got to the point, 16 years later, he decided, I've had enough. So then she thought it must be men. So she tried to go the other way. And there are no good women on earth either.
Mm.
And I said, what's the common denominator here? It's you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we cleaned up the hurts and the pains of those experiences. And again, she has this guy who likes her. And she says, he's not my type. I said, why? Because he likes you? Because you're not supposed to be liked.
Right.
So we cleaned it up. I gave her a few affirmations. And next thing you know, they got married.
They
And
did.
she,
There's
yeah.
it's like a Hallmark movie. The boy got the girl.
It's a true story, too. True story.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. I
Yeah.
love
So I've seen so many of these stories too. Like there was a one woman. I mean, I've done sessions for years, right? And of course, my sessions are changes. This one woman, she came into the office. She goes, "I hate my effing boss." Says, as a matter of fact, he parked next to my car, and I flattened his tire. That's how bad she hated him, you know. And
Oh
of
my
course,
God.
along the same time, I worked with another woman with her ex-husband who she also hated, which resembles her father, right? And so
Right?
then I'm working on her, and come to find out, she hated her boss because he's triggering up her childhood experiences with her stepdaddy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm cleaning up her stepfather issues and how he treated her, how she felt, and all these experiences, you know. Never feel good enough. I've always felt alone, you know, all the whole story. And by the time we get done, this is no lie, she ended up marrying this guy. Not only did she work for him, she also became a co-owner of the business. And he was the perfect man for her. That's why he pissed her off so much,
Wow.
because it fit her world. Now, when she made peace with her own angers and frustrations and the hurts that she carried, she ended up
Mm-hmm.
being the perfect man for him. Now, by the way, like with your relationship, and if you're having a tough time in your relationships, these people are really ideal for your healing.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't heal your part and you blame them for how you feel, you're going to jump out of the frying pan into the fire and you'll never find it because you're going to take your wounds with you.
Mm-hmm. I'm very much about 100% responsibility. So as soon as I see it, I know, oh, that's mine. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Way to go, Crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, we're recyclers and you've had, I mean, you know, we talked about this before. You got some really good stuff in there to clean up.
Thank you.
Really good.
Well, and I think because I've been covering up some of it, and
Yeah.
but you were the one, Robert, and I could cry.
It's okay. Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah, quack, quack, quack. But you're the one who helped me through that. Because
Mhm.
otherwise I'd still be going to fairyland and I wouldn't
Yeah.
be facing it. I'm like hiding all this pain.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's freeing though, isn't it? It's freeing.
It is it is so freeing and I don't want to pass this on.
Yeah. Well, you got those beautiful boys, you know. And here's another thing too. As you heal you and make peace with your stories, your husband's going to change, your children's going to change, your world's going to change, your health is going to change. Everything about you be what you call more authentic.
Yes. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
authentic.
And it's not out of trying to be more authentic.
No,
It's
it's not a fake authentic.
yes, exactly. It's out of the overflow. You just get to be you. And I think
Yeah,
everybody just wants to be themselves.
yeah. I mean, there's or I say the many faces of ourself. You know, we have lots of faces. The thing is, when you blend them into one, you have a dynamic person. Because, you know, you can put on the makeup and pretend to be one way, and you go home, you're a different way. You're not happy, you're angry, you're frustrated, and all that stuff. But when you begin to mend, heal, and adjust the frustrations, the good starts to blend together, you know. It's like it's like I've always felt alone. I never felt like I'm loved, but yet you will have a pet that'll show you love and well, it'll stir up love within you, and you have a loving feeling here. And so you can borrow, or like, I never trusted people, but I trusted my friends at work, and these are educating you. But then when you start to blend these together, because, you got the abuser and the abusee, and both places are painful. But when you heal this one, heal that one, you come together, and then you got healing, peace, transformation. Because we shapeshift. We can be the victim, or we can be the victimizer. We can be the sad one. We can be the happy one. But the happy has a negative. The sad has a negative. So you clean them up, and you have something beautiful in between the two. It's create harmony with the self. So loneliness is a self production. It's a translation of an event, and it's an internal practice. Like I say, you can feel lonely in a crowded room. You can feel lonely with your children, and your whole family are there, because it's an internal value that you developed and you use on yourself. It's not a good one, but it may have saved you at one point. It may got you some special attention at one point, and now it's not working so well.
Mm-hmm.
So some of you, I know this makes sense. It has to make sense. It may scare you too. Believe me, I know how it works. But knowing how to change yourself is the key. We're not talking about understanding things. We're talking about mechanically, internally shifting and changing it. And I have the You Can Change Yourself course, master training. And one of the beautiful things about this course is, one, you're going to learn how to solve your problems. Two, you're going to find people who are just like you. You're going to meet others. You're going to share with others. You're going to demonstrate what you've learned. Also, have groups where people, my upper level practitioners, give you guys free sessions. You've received free sessions, haven't you, Crystal?
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good ones. Yeah.
And then, of course, it helps you move forward. It helps you to heal yourself. I mean, not that you're sick, but it helps improve the quality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
This is a journey that it's going to change your world. And I always tell people, take a picture before you start, because within the year, you will look younger, feel better, and act better. And of course, I have a full training, 1 through 4. Each level, you learn how to heal yourself. You get free sessions too. You learn how your mind works. You learn how that you can help others. Because I believe that, to me, it's a crying shame if you take a modality and you can't use it on yourself. You don't know how to use it on yourself. That's not this one. You'll learn how to do it. You'll learn how to master your life.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And that is something about You Can Change Yourself. There's a philosophy in it, living out of the upper model of the world. And it is such a game changer to live differently and to bring that into your whole world. It changes your world. It changes the people around you. Yeah.
it gives you control.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
It gives you real control. Not controlling, but
right.
in control of the self, adjusting. I call this directed mindfulness. You're directing what's in your mind. You're directing your future. You're adjusting how you represent you. You're adjusting how you represent your children, your husband, your mom, your dad, and everyone else. It's all about personal growth and self-improvement, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want something better, guys, there is a way out. It works. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's changed my life. I'll tell you that.
You created it. Yeah. And your family. It's helped your son as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, of course, we do have family members that this is outside the box. It is outside the box, guys. First of all, it's not normal to be in control of yourself. It's not normal to let things not bother you.
Right.
It's not normal to be controlled by other people.
What is the belief system? What is the belief system behind that? So when you're saying it's out of the box and it's not good to be in control because someone else is in control, like what is the belief system?
Well, again, the most of the world, they control you with fear, judgment, criticism, grief, loss. That's the world system.
Yes. Oh, you nailed it. That's it. Yeah.
And you have no control over yourself. And by the way, when you have memories, you're stuck with them and you can't change them.
Oh,
So if you had a shitty childhood, you're going to have a shitty adulthood.
right. Now suffer.
And that's not really true. I mean, it is true if you don't do anything. You don't know how to change it, but you can.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the evolving of the self, and I believe it's a very spiritual thing too. I mean, it's my system is not religious; it's not tied to affiliate to anything. Biblical studies my major in college. The studies of the teachings of Jesus are very powerful, and it is modeled after them. But it's not religious. It's not religious at all. And you could be atheist; it works just as well for you. You can be pagan, or you can be whatever you want to be, or nothing. Because it's what I teach is mathematical. It's just you do this, you do this, you do that. I have a set of rules. You're not broken. You're successfully creating something based on your programming, your experiences. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good. So, if you're ready to understand what's really keeping you from deep emotional intimacy, you can book a private strategy call with me personally. In this session, I'll help you identify the emotional patterns that are shaping your relationships and guide you to the next steps to create the real change and the lasting change that you're looking for.
hmm Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I created what I created, but here it is. I have a lot of young kids come in. I mean, I say young kids, they're in their 20s, some 30s, and just like that young girl I worked with today, she's 39 years old. It's going
Hmm.
to save her so much suffering.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote me a little message after that. She goes, "When I walked out of my room, my daughter saw me so happy and they were so glad for me. I feel like 1,000 pounds of past is gone.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, when like the guy, I said, listen, let's go back to that memory. Here it is. You're almost crying about it. I want you to go back and I want you to make it upset you. He goes, I know it happened, but it doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. I said, try to find a different way to bring it back. And he found something we didn't work on, so we changed it. And I said, now try to. I said, I can't. It's different. It's just an experience. That's all it is. It's
Wow.
over.
Yeah. And speaking of young kids, I told my oldest, he's 13, I said, I'm going to pay for you to go through level one. I want all my kids to go through the level one training to get the mindset, to know what to do.
Yeah.
That's emotional intelligence. That's what I want to give my kids. So we're
Yeah.
we're gonna pay for our kids to go through the level one. I don't know how well they'll do, but we'll see if they follow through. But what's
Yeah. Level,
what's the youngest
level.
age that has gone through level one?
I know we had a 16-year-old. I know we had a
Okay.
16-year-old. Now, level one, guys, is you can change yourself, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Level one. So, and basically, it's mechanics. And by the way, if you take a child, especially sports, improve their sports performance, concentration. It just knocks it out of the way. Like that young girl I was talking about. She said, my daughter had such a conflict and she's coming home crying every day because of this teacher. She said, I sat down with her, I worked with her, and now that teacher loves her. She loves that teacher, and she's making great grades now. It's all because you're addressing the emotional components, whatever it was that was bothering her, and it helps them, it sets them free from the stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think my kids are going to do great going through it. But I could say as much as I want to say, but eventually someone else has to teach them too. They
Well,
might.
as long as here it is, if you're using it on yourself
Hmm.
and you practice in front of them and you help them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know how to do it. They definitely know how to do it. But level one, you can change yourself. You're learning, like I said before, you're not just learning how to work on yourself. There's a mindset that you're soaking in. You're taking time to really absorb it. And
hmm
that's what I really want them. And I guess they're getting that here too, with the mindset as they see me living it. So,
hmm hmm Yeah.
yeah.
So again, I'm working with a little boy. And I think he's 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. And of course, the parents are going through a very tough time. They wanted me to work with him. I said, well, what's going on? He says, I don't feel like anybody loves me. I feel like I'm all by myself.
Mm.
And I go, well, how big is that? How strong is that? He goes like this. I said, really? Okay. So I walked him through the process. It's so simple. Walk through the process, deep breath, go to that really positive experience. And let's go back now. I said, I want you to say this. No one loves me and I'm all alone. And he said, he just laughed at me and said, that's stupid.
That was fast.
That was super fast. Kids are really pretty fast.
It
Not
is.
all, but a lot of them are,
Yeah. Very fast. Yeah.
Now, the reason why it's fast, guys, is that what we're doing is when we have a problem, we go in our mind to a reference, a memory reference. That is what I call the how to. And so, reason why it's so effective, we go to that memory, whatever it is, and then we draw out, we adjust it, we come back, and the memory's gone. That means the program has shifted. The reference has shifted. And by the way, you can have one single experience, one moment. You could fall down and knock a tooth loose as a child and then think you're ugly. One moment, someone looks at you and says something and it hurts your feelings. From that point forward, you always have your feelings hurt and you operate from that one moment. It takes one memory to change your direction in your life in a good way and or a bad way. So what we're doing is going to that one moment of pain. And when the pain's not there, your life is redirected. It's like the cornerstone of the house has been removed, and now you have a new direction, a new way of doing things. And that's how fast this is. This is not talking about it. This is not trying to create a plan. This is not drawing a line in the sand. It's changing how you represent you internally. That's what's going to set you free. You're not alone. You just know how to create loneliness. And how do you do this? Do you have a picture in your mind? Do you have some bad tonality? Do you have a memory reference that helped build this program? And when you go inside yourself and you adjust those, I'll show you how. You adjust the memories, they're not there, then you're not alone. There's people everywhere. And just like the guy said, I saw all the good memories of my dad before I didn't have good memories, just the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I wrote that actually down. I heard you say that the other day. It was about finding the gift in this session.
mm-hmm.
I wrote that down. It's so important. And doesn't matter what you went through. It could be something like
Yeah.
chaotic, dramatic. There's always a gift that you can find, and that's what you show people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's hope, guys. I know I'm so outside the box, but you don't want to be stuck in the box. They're not happy in there.
Exactly. Why would you want to be in the box? Get out of the box.
It's time to run and have fun. It's time to change your
Yes, exactly.
so so if you've suffered or experienced unpleasant experiences, your world has changed, things that has had a negative impact, life isn't over. Those can change. They really can. And you could be really happily in control. And I do these weekly I call them tap alongs. People volunteer and I help them work on their stuff. And we see some amazing changes in these sessions. Amazing changes. I mean, real problem there, real problem gone, you know. One of them was Judy. She's having digestive issues. Now, by the way, she had digestive issues. Her stomach starts to hurt in October. And a year ago, it's the same thing. Problem in her stomach. It was really worse then. She started coming to my system, started cleaning it up, and it's mild. And so we have what we call anniversary dates, or we have what we call repeating patterns. And it's almost like it was a seasonal affective disorder. Every time October, her body starts acting up. And so we started asking questions and started working on a few things. And she said, at August, I'm already planning to be with my family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm already looking forward to it. But the problem is they all died. They're no longer alive. And so instead of celebrating togetherness, she was preparing for another lonely, sad Thanksgiving, lonely, sad Christmas. So we went in, we started cleaning these up, cleaning the pain, cleaning the sadness. And then I said, have you had any good memories with your family? Yes, she smiles brightly. I said, why don't you do this? Get your journal and write down every positive emotional experience with your family. And then you're going to have a party. You're going to have a great Thanksgiving because you're going to spend time replaying and rehearsing all those positive memories. And in your mind, go give them all a hug and thank them for gifting you with this great life. And she was so happy. She was so excited because look at you.
You're getting me. Oh my gosh. It's so good.
But it's true. It is so true. So what? So again. So now here she has a new direction instead of reminiscing the pain. And by the way, and what I teach is with grief and loss, everybody comes in with two gifts. Every relationship, two gifts. We get to choose which one we open. Is it open that it's over? It's sad. They're gone. That's not a good gift. And it's not even honoring the relationships. And so I said, open the good gifts. Go back to those memories. I said, Judy, take a deep breath, close your eyes. Go back when they were there. And she began to smile in her mind because that memory was alive, that they were still alive inside of her. The gift was still there. I said, that's what you want to practice. And so Thanksgiving is a day of practice. And I said, get you some good turkey that day. I love turkey, she said.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. That is so good. And I'm so emotional with listening to this.
That's all right. I mean, I'm emotional too. I got tears dripping down because I see the changes.
Right. I know. I
See the
love
changes.
that. It's like, for me, it's like seeing like a happy ending of a movie. And
It
like,
is.
oh, it's so wonderful. That's
And
what, that's
yeah.
life. That's living, not just surviving. It's living.
Mhm. And that's what I do every day, every session, They come in with the most scariest things, and most painful moments. And when we're done, they don't feel painful. They feel enlightened. They feel happy. They feel good. It's like how many times I've heard it in the past. I go to therapists and they go, I'm ready to kill myself. I hate myself. I hate my life. I say, well, you won't find that here. When we're done, you feel good
Oh,
about things.
right. Exactly. Yes, I've worked with people. They literally think that, I mean, they think that like that it's going to be a psychology session, that it's
Yeah.
going to be a bad one. Yeah.
No. I mean, we do go the bad stuff. We change it, clean it up. It happened, but it doesn't mean anything today. It's over. Yeah. So loneliness is just a program. You can heal that. You can change that. You can adjust that, and you can create something else.
Any closing words?
Only closing words I'd say to you guys: you have one life. Make it a good one. Let go of the bad souvenirs. I know you can. I'll show you how. Let go of the hurts. It's over. Keep the gifts. Keep the good things close. And as you keep good things close, you clean things up, you learn to like yourself from inside yourself. And if you don't like yourself, that's maybe a part of the problem. Learn to be your best friend. And I know it sounds kind of odd or maybe cheesy or you feel like a bad feeling when I say learn to like yourself. That's why you're not so happy. Learn to like yourself. I'll show you how. It's just changing that old stuff from the past. And life will get better. One step after another. So come and join the best part of the rest of your life.
That's right. Come and join the party. So thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. If you want to learn more about the tools, the strategies that Robert talked about today, be sure to check out the show notes for the links and more resources.
And peace. Change your life. See you later.
Yes. Yeah.